Hello world, this is Shruti Pandey, and today I have with me yet another wonderful guest, Amit RG. RG, why RG? We'll ask him that also. So we have Amit with us, who is the CEO of Richpanel. And what's Richpanel? Richpanel is a CRM for e-commerce. So let's dive into this call and understand a little more about his entrepreneurial journey and sharing of some of his wisdom. So hi Amit, Amit RG, how are you? And why Amit
I'm,
RG?
I'm doing good, Shruti. Thank you for inviting me. Uh, to answer your question about why RG, I used to sign my name like that in 10th standard. They're nothing but my initials, but I used to sign my name like that when I was in 10th, or फिर वो आदत पड़ गई. It and my sister also copied me, so her name is Damini, and she also uses Damini RG like everywhere. So no secret, and people often confuse me like that. Maybe I'm from the south and I have like a very complicated name. That's why I'm using the initials, just like my co-founder does. But that's not the reason. It's just a coincidence. No grand story.
तुम्हें बचपन से पता था कि तुम्हें ऑटोग्राफ साइन करने वाले दिन आएंगे तो तुमने सिग्नेचर वैसे रखा है? Is that what you're saying?
Not really, but just I don't know why I signed it like that, and it just stuck. My teachers started calling it that, and everyone else followed.
And younger siblings are there to just copy us. I know I have one. I feel your pain. But I want to understand more about your journey, about Richpanel. And I understand that it's a CRM for e-commerce, but what exactly are the nuances for something, for an industry like this? Because, there is a prime question which I see in most automation things or automated things that happen. Like, for instance, if there came AI, then people would be like, "Arey, automation wale job chale jayenge, iska job chala jayega, technologist ka job chala jayega." So, does that also mean that there is always a sword on the head of people who are into that particular kind of job? So, for example, if it's CRM, so does that mean that the support agents or service agents, their job is under danger and they should be finding some other means of livelihood?
Good question. I think that's the cycle of life, right? Like if you were to go back 50 years, there are tons of jobs that don't exist that existed 50 years back, but there are much more better jobs or intelligent jobs that have taken their places since then, right? So it's just the circle of life, and it's a matter of time whether somebody comes in and takes that place. So not to like sugarcoat the things, but the kind of software that Richpanel and the others have created will create in a lot of jobs, ceasing to exist. Right. A very recent example is like when Zomato implemented the automation software. Like they built it in house. They didn't take like an external solution. But when you order something from Zomato or a Swiggy, you must have seen like if the food comes spilled, or if half the items are missing, or the delivery boy doesn't arrive for whatever reason, they've automated all those situations, right? Either they send you a replacement, they send you a refund, something like that. But all of those situations are now automated, and as a result of that, Zomato had to let go 540 employees in 2019 despite growing so much. So this is bound to happen, and at the same time, there are going to be like so much better and so much more intelligent jobs that are going to take their places.
I never thought of the fact that there can be more intelligent jobs to be taken care of, but that makes sense. So, do you really imply that the need for having something like a call center? If I remember when we were growing up, there was this boom of something like a call center or support center and stuff like that. So, do you think those things would go all in all, or there would still be there for maybe the last number to figure out how to talk to an executive or something like that?
I hope we are able to execute fully to our vision, and if we are able to fulfill our vision, then yeah, the call centers should cease to exist. It's not going to be like one company's job. It will be a combined effort, because whenever a strategy or a product works, then there will be like a lot of people that will copy the same techniques.
Right.
But yeah, if you're successful in our vision, then those kind of jobs will cease to exist. And there are a couple of reasons why, right? Whenever you're contacting a call center, it's never a pleasant experience. So you need to also empathize with the end customer, right? If you have ever tried to contact an airline, or contact like one of the banks, it's just such a painful experience. If you manage to get hold of someone, you'll be very lucky. And even then, getting a resolution is not going to be so straightforward. So it's just a bunch of people that are, given some FAQs and SOPs, and even the authority with these people, because they're so much layered, right? The authority to make any decision is like so hampered that they can barely help you. So that's what we are trying to change by productizing customer service. We believe like the best customer service is no service, where you don't have to contact anyone, and it's just built in as an interface inside the application. So whatever you can think of, whatever you can imagine, like, you're not calling a bank or an airline to complain about your problems with your friends, or your relationship problems. You're calling because they screwed up, right? You could not do something on their application, on their website, that you wish to do. So if you are able to figure out all these situations and then create interfaces to avoid this contact in the first place, everyone is going to be happy, right? You are happy because you got an immediate resolution. The business is happy because they have to hire less people. They've created something much more scalable. And honestly, even the call center people are happy because the jobs that they're doing could be replaced, or they could be doing something so much more intelligent, rather than having the same kind of 50 or 100 calls day in, day out.
Yeah, and that entire cycle also ensures you that the customer is going to come back to you again, right? So in case another flight booking or a return ticket or a whatever thing, if that experience was smooth, they are going to come again. The returning of the user is also important for an application, right?
Very well said. In fact, that's one of the value propositions we sell on. Like, there is a reason we continue to go on like Book My Show.
Right.
5 years back, Book My Show didn't have any convenience fee, but today they do, right? And though it may pinch us a little to pay that extra, but my payment details are saved. I can book and access like the inventory of all the malls and theaters next to me. So it just becomes like such a convenient option to go there, right? 10 years back, we would shop on Amazon because we were bargain hunting. But today we shop on Amazon because of convenience, because they have such good inventory, they promise such good delivery and after sales service, that we go to Amazon for convenience, not for like the best
They're
bargain.
like oxygen. They are like everything, and they're everywhere. So I think it's very hard to escape. With their mini TV also coming into existence, it's like they have really left no stone unturned to monetize, commercialize, or and when you have a competitors like that, others also are like on their edge because they need to keep giving something better, is how I look at it. So
Correct.
that makes sense. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I think you have something interesting to add.
I was just saying, like, I completely agree with that point. Like, when Amazon and Uber are providing these kind of services, they are setting like benchmarks for other brands to adopt or exceed. Otherwise they won't survive. So if you're getting like this kind of convenience, because we were just looking at some stats, every D2C brand, out of 100 orders they do, 50 of them result in some kind of a support ticket. So you can imagine like almost half the customers you acquire are having an interaction with your customer support team, and how you deal with them will determine whether they will buy back from you or not. So as you said, it's a habit making business. So if you can give them the peace of mind, make it a convenient transaction, or a convenient, not just the transaction, but even any kind of a interaction that I have afterwards, then you're making me habituated to your business, to your app, and that's the holy grail.
Makes sense. So now that we have discussed so much about the entire market and its proposition and etc., I want to understand one more thing or aspect from you. Like, how easy or difficult is it to really strive or pursue a startup from all the experience that you have had? And if it's too daunting a question, we can break it down into further parts, but I genuinely want to understand from you, like, how easy or difficult is to strive or pursue a startup?
I think the answer is, it's relative, and it's relative to the people aspiring to start it. So it's all relative. It's about how badly you want it. It's tough. It's difficult by any means you look at it. There are certain things that place you at an advantage. If you have like a very good network, if you have graduated from a very good college, you have like very strong alumni network. They do make it a little bit easy in terms of access to knowledge, access to initial capital. But no matter the first step, or no matter how easy it is for you to take the first step, doing a startup is incredibly hard, because everything else takes a secondary seat in your life. There is no such thing as work-life balance. I think in a startup, that's a myth, at least for the founding team members. So you have to give up a lot. And the people who are like really crazy and passionate about it, they don't think of it as giving up a lot, right? It's something that they were meant to do. It's something that they've always aspired to do. So I think it's very relative. The people who are more successful, and you look at them and you'll feel like, oh, it came so easy to them. It came so easy because they made it look so easy. So yeah, that's my answer. It's relative to the people
I
starting
think
it.
it's not just the founding team. I mean, you really have to be that level of crazy to join a startup, as whatever position you might be, because it's like all your life is then your work actually, and nobody trains you for that. You have to have that core or some inbuilt feature in you. Otherwise, you just can't survive that way of working or style, is how I look at it. And you can correct me if I'm wrong.
No, absolutely. You're very right. But, even that 80-20 rule applies in a startup of, any size, at least, a startup of, 20, 30 or more employees. The 80-20 rule starts to kick in, where you'll have like the top 20% of the people who are doing 80% of the work, or at least like the company is like 80% reliant on them. The other day I was reading a tweet from Jason Lemkin, and he said that even at a very like late stage of a startup, the CEO usually has like really 2 or 3 people that she can rely on, and life is sort of unfair for them because they're overburdened with work. But that's where the career magic happens, right? You just become like then you're a founder yourself, right? If you're one of those people where the founders are dependent on you, and you just become like so instrumental in the growth of the company, then you're a founder yourself. And in fact, it'll be like very easy for you to like start the next thing or demand like a sizable equity in the current thing.
Wow, that was a very effective tweet. I mean, I didn't realize that you can find amazing things on Twitter. Like, should I be joining it? I mean, I don't exist on such platforms, but that was a great tweet.
You're not on Twitter? Okay.
Am I missing out on life if I'm not on Twitter?
I don't think so. You're missing out on live. The same guy is available on like other platforms like LinkedIn. But I would definitely recommend, especially that you're interviewing a lot of like these B2B folks, then he's a guy to must follow.
Oh, okay. I'll keep that in mind. So
Sure.
while you made me a great suggestion of Twitter and everything, but I also want to understand from you another aspect adding to this startup question, which is what are the essentials or must-haves, as they call it these days, do you think, for a startup? Like, do you think there are any parameters? It could be anything which comes to your mind or which you think are the essentials.
First and foremost that I can think of, and you're putting me on the spot, so I don't have like a particular framework for telling this, but from the top of my head, I can think of like first and foremost, you need grit. Like whenever you're deciding to start something, then be committed to it. That's one. Second is, I think the second is like find a problem that really excites you and is big enough. That's the second thing, right? Third is gather a team that is really qualified to solve for this problem. Very important, very essential. So you have to usually complement yourself with, or you have to like get people with complementing skills in your journey, and see to it that they are as committed as you. So that's the third thing that I can think of. And if I have to add one more, so we covered grit, we covered like a problem that everyone is excited about, and the team. I think these three are like good ingredients to give you a good start, right? And obviously keep like an open mind, consume information like crazy, have great mentors, study a lot, like especially in the 0 to 1 stage. I always send people towards Y Combinator or like startup school, so that you can avoid a lot of mistakes which almost all founders are guilty of. So you can skip through those stages and shorten your journey by going through some of those literature.
You actually gave me a good one there. Do you, I mean, regret any of your mistakes as a founder? Because you just mentioned about, the mistakes founders make. Like anything that is coming instantaneously?
Oh, I cannot pick one. I've made like so many mistakes. I can't even pinpoint. Every time, like, I've spoken to like people much more accomplished or ahead of me. Whenever I speak with them, and they're sharing about like their journeys or the mistakes that they made along the way. So Ryan and I will be like looking at each other and we'll be like, we're guilty of each one of those, right? So I don't regret any of the mistakes that I've made and I've realized. Those are like learnings. Uh, I think the mistakes that the worst mistakes are the ones that I've not realized or I could be potentially already making. So the mistakes that you already realize are beautiful, right? They're like a gift. Like you realize you were doing something wrong. You realized it because you saw it somewhere or somebody, helped you point it out. Those are good mistakes. No regrets there. The worst mistakes are the ones where you don't realize you're making them.
It was a very intelligent and classy answer at the same time. So you were just like, okay, I haven't realized that mistake yet. So still figuring out. Not sure if that's a mistake.
Yeah, yeah.
I like that answer. And my last and final question for you is, given the fact that I'm not sure if the pandemic is over or it's still coming or it's midway. It's become a very weird relationship with pandemic for all of us, right? You never know what happens. And with that came the remote working situation and scenario. And what are your thoughts on remote working? Like, are you guys really happy working remotely, or do you like miss old days of where it's so much easier when you're just sitting next to another colleague or something and you're like, okay, chal dekhte hain kaise karna hai and something like that. So how is it for you?
I think I have mixed feelings. So does my entire company.
Sure.
50% of our office wants to come back to office. They keep, hampering me, office kholo, like open an office. The other 50% is like, we're comfortable with remote work and, we want to continue being remote. I have mixed feelings because I feel like the productivity levels are definitely up with no travel, with no commute time, with less distractions. People are definitely, more productive. And let me put an asterisk there. If I'll
Sure.
come to the asterisk in a minute. And the second, like, I think the innovation has definitely suffered by people being remote, because a lot of the experiments or the creativity would happen over these brainstorming sessions, right? Like, somebody in the office would tap you on the shoulders and be like, chalo chai pe jate hain, I have some idea to discuss, or I just had a very interesting call, I need to discuss this with you, right? So when you're just sitting next to each other, you're watching someone taking a call, or you hear someone in a conversation, you contribute, all of that has sort of, you know uh, is not existent anymore. And I think that is what kills creativity and experimentation. So I have mixed feelings about it. But yeah, I think like there are many roles in the company that require people to stay together and work together. And I'm getting more and more convinced that we need to like reopen the office.
While I appreciate your asterisks, is that also a cover up? I'm sorry, I'm saying cover up because there
uh,
are many people who feel like maybe people are not working or they are like moonlighting and this and that. Like there are so many new terms coming, but let's keep it very simple. What if somebody doesn't trust their team enough that okay, they might be really working offline as in remote? So do you think that is also one of the reason which bothers you or your team ever?
Not really, like at the end of the day, we are like driven by our OKRs. So people who are working or not working becomes like, like it becomes like just very clear,
Hmm.
right? कि क्या हो रहा है, कैसे हो रहा है, like you can't like really escape that. If you have like good things in place, then that wouldn't happen. Plus, we are fortunate enough and we have like a good culture, so everyone trusts everybody, and that's not been a problem with us, at least.
I think then I need to congratulate you for having that work culture because creating that trust, and plus in this virtual world that we are living in, it's very difficult to do that. So good job to you. And
Absolutely, and I think vulnerability also plays an important part by just letting people know, like, what kind of a role they have in the company, uh, and if they don't do their part, then how the company gets affected, how their peers and team members get affected. That camaraderie is there, so that is quite not spoken of, but it's agreed upon ethics within the company. Like, hey, this is our baby. This is our pride. So we have to take care of it and be committed to it. So I don't think we have that problem. The asterisks I put, I'll tell you why I put that asterisk into productivity, because like I've seen people being stupid in not investing in like a desk. Like we've offered, like, okay, we're going to send you like desk, like a proper desk with an erect posture to work. I'm going on sprint calls. People are like sitting on their beds and working. I'm like, are you stupid? Because you're going to take, if you're like writing code sitting on a bed in that posture, you're going to take 12 hours to do 3 hours of work, right? And you're going to feel exhausted. You're going to feel overworked, right? Like, just sit erect on a nice desk, nice posture, without any distraction, block those 4 hours, and then take the rest of the day off, right? Then sleep on your bed, right? Watch Netflix on your bed for the remaining 8 hours, but don't be distracted. So that's where I put that, asterisk. We had those people even in our company. Like when we had our office also, they would go on that bean bag, or they would go on those other places. And I think productivity also has to do with, I think there is a direct proportion to people who are fit and healthy. They're naturally more productive at work because they're just like not lazy people. They are committed to something, and they understand, like, okay, like what commitment is. I might be like overgeneralizing, so I hope people don't hate me for it. But I've just seen like people who are fit, have a physical activity or some passion to pursue, they understand, like, time allocation, how to like just quickly allocate this much time, get done with it, and move to the next thing. And they understand this basics, like, okay, your physics or your physical thing is related with your mental productivity, right?
Absolutely. I mean, you put me on spot there, because I think the biggest con of the work from home thing is, I mean, I don't care if I get the best, chairs from IKEA or this or that, wherever, but you just feel like, okay, the entire place is yours wherever you want to sit, and you can just get going, working, and have the laptop anywhere on you and just start to type and code. And I know this is one thing which I'm also suffering big time. I don't know how I'll get out of it, but I'll probably replay the sentence of your every time when I forget it. I think it would be like a very booster of me to, yeah, start using the chair.
Yeah,
So
very important to have a erect posture while working.
Thank you for being that teacher and giving me a great lesson. But I really enjoyed this conversation with you because it was so free flowing. And I apologize that I was putting you on spot with the questions, and maybe a
No,
couple of
absolutely not.
little trickier, but like, yeah, it was a little on spot. But I really appreciated this conversation with you, Amit. And in case you have any parting thoughts for all the lovely people who are listening to you, the stage is all yours.
No parting thoughts, just like and subscribe to the channel. That's how that says it. So please, Shruti has started this amazing channel in April. She told me she's already had 80 guests. So let's show her some love and support so she can invite even better guests, even more accomplished guests, and we can make her podcast more successful. But yeah, thanks for having me, Shruti.
Thank you. I don't remember anybody doing that, but that was crazy and that was sweet. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.